This afternoon, I'm at Hackney Quest, a charity in Hackney, East London, a charity that has a distinguished record of positively working with the local community, young people as well as families. I'm joined this afternoon by three persons from Hackney Quest, and I'm going to invite each of them in turn to introduce themselves and say a bit about their role before we get into the meat of the recording. I'm going to ask Colette just to introduce herself.
Thank you, William. Yeah, my name's Colette Allen. I'm the CEO of Hackney Quest. I've actually been involved, for the pleasure of being involved for the last 20 years. I started off in an admin role because I lived in Hackney and I really loved the community. And I realised as soon as I started that I really loved young people and loved working with them. So I trained to do youth work. I went on maternity leave, and when I came back, I took over the role of project director, which has kind of transformed into the role of CEO. So I feel very blessed and lucky to have been here so long and seen, a very small charity that when I started develop into sort of such an amazing organisation that really, really impacts the community.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, can I introduce you to Janita, who's our youth manager?
Hi, I'm Janita. Yes, I'm the youth manager at Hackney Quest. So I've been at Hackney Quest now 9 years. 9 years this month, actually. So my role at Hackney Quest is to oversee the youth provision that we provide, the youth programs that we provide, and sort of line manage the youth workers as well within that. At Hackney Quest, we do a wide range of youth programs. So we have our usual sort of term time programs, Monday right the way through to Friday, for different age groups, different programs, including homework club, mentoring, youth activities for different age groups, the employment program, so multiple programs. And then we also have a holiday program as well. So during all the holidays, we also run activities, trips, and so on, residentials for young people. So it's a big program that we run with young people aged 8 to 25.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Janita, do you want to introduce Ashraf?
And this is Ashraf, one of our young people at Hackney Quest.
Hi, I'm Ashraf. I've been with Hackney Quest for 10 years now, since I was 9, and I'm now 19. And Hackney Quest has held a huge role in my growth and development as a young person.
Yeah, thank you, Ashraf. That's lovely.
Excellent, thank you. And now more broadly, Colette, about the charity, about some of the achievement, its reach. We've already heard something about the groups you work with, but is there something else that you can share with us about the impact generally? Yeah,
definitely. I love talking about Hackney Quest, so I'm very happy to do that. Thank you. We were set up in 1988, so I think that's 34 years ago now. Initially set up by a few police officers who saw young people sort of up, doing stuff that they thought they would end up probably in the criminal justice system and wanted to divert them away from that. So it's set up to take young people out of the area of Hackney or take them into different settings and just give them different experiences that might just change their lives for the better. They then established it as a charity. When I joined, we were in a very small shop at the bottom of Wells Street, which is right in the centre of Hackney. At that point, we were running a positive youth engagement programme, which is still the core of what we do. So that's what Janita runs. And that is the core of Hackney Quest. We engage up to 300 young people every year. As Janita said, age 8 up to 19, but more recently with our employability programme, we've been working with young people up to 25. Because we found that actually a lot of young people that even once they've got to 19, like Ashraf, they're our friends, they're still really engaged with our organisation, they want to help, they peer support each other, we can help them with sort of employment opportunities, we can link them up to different employers and just help support them into that. So that I think we've just expanded over the years into sort of doing more and more, and what I've seen is we've expanded into what the community and the young people have asked us to do, what they need, what they want us to help them with. So we started with the positive youth engagement programme, and out of that came our mentoring programme, because we realised after a few years that it was us, we were mentoring lots of young people, that more individualised, deeper support. And then we realised we had loads of great volunteers already with us and that they could be mentors as well. So we had maybe at that point, maybe 20 or 30 volunteers, and we set up a mentoring programme. And we generally, now we have about 100 volunteers and about 50 young people being mentored at any given time. A lot of those mentors and volunteers are professionals who've moved into Hackney, maybe 20 or 30 year olds who've sort of been brought up, I think, to really want to help. So we've been really fortunate in that way that we've managed to engage so many professionals who live in Hackney, who don't want to just take from the community, they want to give back to the community that they're living in. They really value this community, you know, the diversity, the beautifulness of it, and they really want to be part of that. And actually by them even coming to volunteer and mentor, they're connecting to the community in a way that they wouldn't do if they just had a flat here and were going to work in the city. So yeah, that's been a really massively positive thing that's happened at Hackney Quest, and it has made a really big impact because it means that we can mentor and support many more young people in a more in-depth way than we were able to do previously. Also, the employability programme, as we've mentioned earlier, that was set up actually during lockdown. Because we knew that young people were struggling, had really been struggling with like not being in education, not having those work experience opportunities, and not having links to getting jobs. You know, a lot of our 15 to sort of 17-year-olds would be doing part-time work, and those young people, particularly like Ashraf, during that time, they didn't have those opportunities because they weren't there. So we actually managed to get some funding through the Mayor's office and did 1 year in a quite intensive employability and social action programme. And with that, we then were able to get young people work experience. Quite a lot of them actually did their work experience with us because we were still in lockdown. So they were delivering food. At that point, we'd actually set up a massive food bank. We'd stopped our services we hadn't stopped our services with young people. Everything had gone online with our young people and our families, and we had the building and we had access to food. So we set up a really big food bank, and actually our young people got really involved with that as well, which was fantastic. They were actually coming and delivering food to the community, delivering food to each other. Some of the families that were isolating, we deliver food to them as well. So we were really, really proud of them during lockdown. But obviously now coming out of it, the impact is massive for them. You know, they've missed out on education, the very complicated education as well. So linking them up with our employability programme, which is called New Futures HQ, look it up online, that they can actually, we have links to lots of potential employers, lots of corporates, lots of companies that are actually either in Hackney or in the city or in Hackney Wick. And you know, Amtrash actually has got a job in an organisation in Hackney Wick, which she can tell you about. But yeah, we can make those connections with the potential employers, because we know them and they know us, and then we can introduce young people to them, and then the young people can, you know, either do some work experience with them or like Ashraf, actually get a job, which is amazing. So that's definitely a big impact of our programme. The other side of the work that we do, which the food bank kind of came out of, was the community side. And again, that started maybe about 10 years ago. We went linking up with local churches and community centres, realising that there was a lot of people in the community that were very socially isolated, who were lonely, who didn't really have anywhere to go. You know, Hackney is expensive. You know, to go and maybe get a cup of coffee has become quite an expensive thing to do. So, you know, and obviously with the sort of food poverty and the access to healthy food, we were seeing that in our community. So we set up about 10 years ago a community meal with a local church, Frampton Power Baptist Church. And that's still going strong now. We have Marisa and a team of volunteers who cook. We receive food on a Friday from the Felix Project. And they take over to the church on a Monday. A team of volunteers cook a meal for about 40 people. And people can just come along, sometimes it's a 3-course meal, and they can chat to each other. We have volunteers to come and talk to them. And then actually out of that, we then offer almost like an advice and support service. So we offer practical help, you know, form filling, dealing with debt, dealing with housing issues, that kind of thing as well. So that's a project that kind of organically grew over the years as well. And I think we now do 2 community meals a week, one with Gascoigne Community Centre, which is supported by Wick Award, which is a big local project in Hackney. And we work with the team there and local volunteers as well. So we've actually had some of our young people, Ashraf being one of them, have gone along to the community meals and worked, you know, done activities with the people that are actually going to the meals. So it's about, you know, intergenerational, bringing people together, giving people safe places, particularly young people. You know, there's a lot of factors in most areas now, but there's a lot of things that affect young people. And in Hackney, they highlighted through some work that we did called, we did a research project in Hackney Wick called Hackney Wick Through Young Eyes. And quite a few of the areas that young people wanted improvement was safety. Another one being housing, another one being mental health, but particularly the safety aspect for them as young people, you know, moving around, the perception that some people have of them as young people. And we just don't see that at all. We just see these amazing group of people, you know, so we're really working to highlight the amazing things that young people do, who they are, and connect them to opportunities. So I think that's a lot of impact.
It's a massive amount of impact, and it's really good stuff. And what is interesting and so impressive is the difference that you're making within your community through the range of activities that you initiated, that you sustain, and the partners you've brought in. I'm just wondering, Janita, if you could say something about the work that you do with young people, 9, 10-year-olds, etc., and their families, because sometimes it's so important.
Work with the families as well. So one of the other programs. So we work with young people from the age of 8, and they come on, and we have a primary session, which is for our 8 to 11-year-olds. Then we have a session which is for our year 7 to year 9s. We have a session which is for our 14 to 18 and 19-year-olds, as well as the other programs we mentioned. But alongside that, so the young people can come in and take part in activities, and our workshops, our evening youth sessions, are a variety of activities. And the idea is for young people to try something new, build friendships, develop their confidence, develop all those soft skills that you might not get in school, or you do, but additional to that in a fun, exciting way. So we have programs from cooking to sports, to arts, to podcasts, to drama, lots of different projects. And what's beautiful is that we have youth workers that deliver programs each week, or sometimes we have other partnership organizations come in and deliver those workshops as well. So we do a lot of partnership work, as well as our youth workers planning and delivering those sessions as well. But what we do like to do is that we always say at Hackney Quest, young people are always our focus point, but to work with the young people, you need to be working with the families, and to be working with the families, you need to be working with the community. And so it's like a holistic approach to how you work with young people. And we found that when we work with young people from as young as 8 years old, being really connected with their parents and family is vital. So the families feel connected to us, know who we are, so that then as young people grow, if there's any additional problems or someone going on, as if they transition into secondary school, and sometimes there's teething problems within that, we're able to support those families. So we have a family support program and an education support program as well. So if young people are struggling at home, or parents need a little bit more extra guidance, we have like parenting courses, or we have a really great family support manager called Andrew, and he will really work well with the parents and the young person. So sometimes there's a breakdown in relationships, sometimes it's a little bit about providing tools and tactics and skills on how to manage the communication between parent and child and families. Or there's also the other program, which is education support. So it's about how we can keep young people in schools. So when young people are struggling, or parents are struggling to communicate with the schools, we can go and be like an advocate with the parents to support those meetings, to look at what are the best needs for our young people, and kind of, okay, how is this placement work? How is school working for them? How can we work with the teachers and the parents to make sure the young person is getting the best for them? So that's been another beautiful program that it's kind of, again, what Colette said, everything's come out of a need. So work with the young people you're hearing when you're speaking to them. If they're having any difficulty, you're like, okay, did you know we can support with this? Have we spoken and speak to the parents? So for us, it's really core about that. We have positive relationships with parents, so they do come to us if there is a concern, and we can just be that extra support for them. And I feel like that is a great way of being able to, support the development. It's like being an additional family member that helps bring them everyone together. So, and I've definitely seen that. I've been here 9 years, and I've seen we are a youth provision, but we're not just a youth provision. We're beyond that. We're like the digital, it's about bringing the whole of it together, so you can really be that helping hand, I guess.
Super, thank you. And I wonder, is Ashram, if we could hear from you about your work, your experiences with Hackney Quest.
Well, I started Hackney Quest when I was 9, and I got in. I got in through my family because they came to Hackney Quest as well. And at first, it was all just fun and games with trips. I'd go every summer. I'd always enjoy the activities and stuff that Hackney Quest always came up with. It was great because at that time, there was really nothing for a young kid to do outside of school in the holidays. Maybe go to a park, but that's about it. But when I turned around 14, I joined the peer volunteer program. So
what is that? Sorry to cut. What is that?
The volunteer program is when a young person would help out through during an activity or trip that may come up. So throughout when I joined, there was always a person who'd always help alongside the workers. So they'd always like just act as a older role model. So it'd be relatable. So they won't be an authoritative figure like the Hackney Quest workers, but they're still a young person. So they are still somewhat of a role model and easier to communicate with. So I joined that. And as well, there was many more opportunities. I started joining the after school work program, what was it called? The the 14 to 16-year-olds.
Head Start.
Oh, Thursday night youth
Yeah.
program, yeah.
Thursday night program. I joined that. There was always sessions either on schools or family or gang violence or just social awareness of the community. And there'd always be programs where we could take part in and essentially make our voices heard and our thoughts and opinions on it. And then we would come up with social action programs to actually initiate our opinions and try voice them to the community. They would also give mentors who would help us through anything that we needed advice on, whether it was school or family, or if you're coming to end of education, uni or college, and they were always helpful. But sometimes they weren't just for advice, sometimes they were also easy to relate to, and you could just spend a little free time just trying to relax. Like sometimes me and my mentor, we'd play pool or we played cards, and sometimes that's what I really needed. I didn't need to focus on anything, I just needed to unwind. But especially during lockdown, they were really vital because everything, I was in college at that time, everything was becoming much difficult and hard to control. I almost lost sight of who I was as a person, and Hackney Quest really helped me stay in control of everything. Though it was through a lot of calls and Zoom calls, it wasn't in person, which was tough, but it was still easier than having no one there. Hackney Quest was literally the beam of light that we needed during that time. And I finished college, and I am a person that didn't want to go university. University was just too academic for me. And although I am good at it, the stress is just too overwhelming for me to do. So they helped me find different work programs and stuff to do. They helped me get a lot of experience. They helped me write up my CV, build it, and currently I've been doing a 6-month work placement at a group called Arbeit Studios down in Hackney Wick. And I've learned so much in the past year, and I honestly doubt I could find that experience anywhere else in a year's worth.
They think very highly of you, Ashraf, as well. So we're it's emotional hearing you say all of this, but we're so proud of you. We really are, and all of our young people. But it's good to, the journey that you've been on, and that continued support in different ways. I was wondering, how many mentors have you had?
Just 3.
3 in the years that you've had some amazing mentors, haven't you? Yeah.
It's wonderful to hear that your experiences with Hackney Quest. And I wonder, Ashraf, you've been with the charity for 11 years or so, I think you said earlier. Now, clearly, you've done a lot over that time, and the variety is quite rich. And I'm just wondering what you think your life would have been like had you not had the opportunity to work with Hackney Quest. If Hackney Quest hadn't existed, what difference do you think it would have made to the outcomes that you've got now?
Funny thing is, I have actually thought about this before. So what I've thought is I probably would have been more troubled. I've met a lot of people at Quest, and they've been good role models. And honestly, I wasn't exactly the best kid as when I was younger. I was always all over the place, honestly. I didn't even know. I probably would have been in a lot more trouble. I wouldn't be as caring or as thoughtful as I am now. I probably would just disregard others, people's feelings and whatnot.
That's a great tribute to the charity and the people
Honestly,
you work with.
I do remember sometimes on Hackney Quest trips where I was quite selfish, but Lacan, one of the youth workers, he would often point out my mistakes and how it often affected others. And it did make me feel guilty, but